I'm going to run through an era pretty quickly here, and I'm going to kind of gloss over some stuff because a lot of this is just very similar in design. I want to actually talk about the pants that came out. This one is from JT USA, brand name right here on the back. This was actually kind of the beginning of the paintball pant era, and from this one you can kind of see some of the starting of a lot of the evolution. First of all, they put a stretch gusset right in the crotch, because you don't want to have the pants splits if you happen to do the splits. Next thing they did was they put in this secondary patch right here so that you actually had like a second layer when you're doing knee slides and such. Now they also still had a lot of their pockets. They had the cargo pocket on the side. They had one back pocket. I think they had like one. Did they have a second side pocket? No, they only had one side pocket on the left-hand side. At the time, everybody was like clamoring for these things because they came in black, brown. They actually made like a denim blue kind of version. Now it had some problems for paintball. It had some major problems for hardcore play, and that is more basically the material. This is denim. This is like 10-ounce denim. This is heavier than your jeans denim, and it still tore up. Of course, not to be outdone, you had the Smart Parts Shigos, I believe they called them, C-H-I-G-O-S. And this was their answer to the JT product. And they did make some improvements. You'll notice that the Cordura knees that go pretty far down your shin. They also put Cordura on the buttocks. You don't think about this until you're doing a slide and you realize that you're sliding on your butt. They also added some squeegee pockets on the sides over here, so they started making them specifically for paintball, not just for style. Something that's always confused me though about these, you'll notice that there's actually a fly on this. There's actually a zipper fly, but there's no opening on the top. What's the point? Come on. Renegade / Smart Parts actually did something really cool with these things. They kind of progressed the pants line even further than that, but we still ran into some problems, and that is that they're still using a material that's going to make you really hot when you're playing. And by hot, I mean like, overly sweating hot. Once Smart Parts made their version, everybody started copying basically the Smart Parts version, of course, Paintball Junkies. Paintball Junkies did basically what Smart Parts did. They put the Cordura on the knees, they just kind of made it reinforced, they put some pockets all over it. But the one thing about these is that it's very thin material. This is, I don't even know, like basically like a ripstop kind of material for those of you familiar with like BDUs and such. But the one problem I have with these things is that they just feel flimsy. They feel like, they feel like hammer pants. I'm not dancing like that. Just forget it. But I will compliment, they were a lot cooler. They were a lot physically cooler than the other brands that were out there. So, of course, we wanted to get paintball out of the woods and onto the speedball field. So you had the animal paintball types. Like, Animal Paintball made these. I like these. They had gathers at the ankles, which you could cut, which I obviously did for comfort. But they had this, of course, they had the squeegee pockets, and they have all sorts of other ones. The one thing I liked about these is that they had a loop right here, so that you could take your goggles off and hang them on your pants between games. But again, one of the major problems with these pants is that they're too freaking hot. And they're durable, yes, but you kind of have to temper the durability with heat. And this is where you get some people, I know that Mike over at Tech PB said that everybody was wearing these like jogging pants and such, and I think this is what he was referring to. These are from Next, and that Next itself is a company that makes roller hockey gear. So they make some stuff that's fairly lightweight and pretty durable, and these are actually my woodland playing pants for a couple of years, and they're still pretty darn good. The improvements that they made was they actually added a whole bunch of different places that the fabric could actually stretch. They put one in the back, they put this huge stretch gusset on the side, but then also put in this wide area of just mesh so that you could just physically cool off between games or in-game. Now, I was a big fan of Next. They actually, I will admit that they sponsored the WebDog show, so I've got a lot of their gear. But even to this day, I still wear this stuff because it's still durable and it's still good. And I kind of want to end with these, even though these are more modern than what I was showing you before, the dye pants. Dye was really the first company that made paintball pants that had padding built into them. There were a couple before that. You had the JT pants, but those are mostly like BMX and motocross pants that they just kind of converted over to paintball. In fact, I'm going to show you this picture too because this scares me to this day. This is actually what they were trying to get all the speedball players to wear back in the day and saying, hey, that'll be really cool. Everybody's going to really dig it. Yeah. Dye was really the first company to make the padding inside of the pants. These are, I believe these are C7s. Feel free to correct me in the comment section. You oftentimes will. These have the padding on the knees, and that's really about it. But they also have tons of ventilation all over the place. So, again, it's really heavy-duty material, but they're also tempering it with lots and lots of ventilation. So that is a very brief, history of the paintball pants. Now, I'll admit that I don't have everything, and of course my view is kind of biased, but I only bought things that I looked at and said, hey, I could find a use for that, or hey, I would really like that. I don't have everything, but I got quite a bit of it.